GIS Analyst and Spatial Analyst. Now, if you look at these two job descriptions, they might sound like the same thing, but they definitely aren't. One is a technician role that's focused on creating and managing spatial data. The other is a diagnostic role that is focused on finding patterns and answering core business questions. Now, here's the big key. The gap between them isn't years of experience. It's three specific changes in how you work. And today I'm going to walk you through the before and after of this transition so you can stop making maps and start delivering insights. Now, before we get into that, here's the trap that a lot of these roles get stuck in. Most GIS analyst roles are actually like data entry roles in disguise. You're going to spend a lot of your time cleaning issues, fixing geometries, handling projections, and digitizing features. You're really only spending about 10% of your time actually analyzing anything. And that's really what the problem is when you try to compare these two things. To become a spatial analyst, you really have to flip that ratio. You need to automate all the cleaning and the data work so that you can focus in on the why. You're going to flip that ratio over. So let's go ahead and jump into the first change, which is the tooling that you're going to be using. Now, look, I've talked about tools a lot before, but actually let's look at what the outputs of those tools are and kind of compare the two things. Now, the GIS analyst, what you're doing is you're going to be looking at data visually. You might be opening an attribute table, and as you scroll, you might be looking at some different things, but you're kind of limited to what you can see on the screen, right? At the end of the day, you're orchestrating all of that workflow by pointing and clicking and connecting fields and things like that, all in a visual interface. Long story short, you're going to be limited by what you can actually see on the screen. The spatial analyst, while you're still looking at data, you're going to be structuring a query that goes over all the data sets and thinks about it logically. You're not going to be looking at the rows of data. You're going to start asking questions using SQL, right? SQL is by and far one of the best things I spent time learning, and using spatial SQL to organize data, structure it, even handle things like geometry corrections and all this different stuff is going to be really important. You're going to go from looking at a table and trying to figure out how to fit the pieces together to actually writing a query that's going to orchestrate this whole process for you, joining, moving data around, organizing it, aggregating it, all this stuff you can do just in one simple query, not 10 different clicks down in a user interface. If you can answer a question, what is the average distance to a hospital for every county without opening a map, and you can do it writing a query, then you've made that first jump to becoming a spatial analyst. But that's not the only visual change you're going to have to make. Let's jump into the second change, which is moving the method from visual to statistical, moving from it looks like to it is, right? Now, before, if you're a GIS analyst, you're probably creating a lot of maps. And to study something, you may be using like a choropleth visualization, maybe even like a heat map or something like that. And you're trying to visually inspect what's happening. So many of the GIS analyst targeted workflows in videos I see online and tutorials and things like that here are focused on let's do all this work so we can look at and study a map and pointing at it to see this is what it looks like is happening here. Now, the problem is that if you're not there to help the person understand and study that, they might not be able to do that. They're not going through and looking at maps in a lot of different ways. Additionally, it's all just visual inference, right? Someone might miss something that's statistically important, and you have to be able to provide that to them. So what is the change that you need to do to become a spatial analyst? That's actually using statistics to prove that out. Now, I talked about a little bit about statistics in the queries. You can use things like averages, mins, means, maxes, all of that good stuff. But now you can actually use spatial analytics to do that. A good example of this is using something like spatial autocorrelation to pull out hot and cold spots that are correlated statistically and spatially to do that. So the big change here is moving from doing things like visual hotspot analysis to actual statistic hotspot analysis. A good example of that is the GEDIST or GI star, which is a statistical significance that actually tells you it is 99% confidence that this is a specific area you want to focus in on. And then you can express that visually or just in a table to tell someone, here's where you should be looking at, right? So you're making this change of like visual inference and guessing in a way to having clear statistics telling you what to do. So here's that second change that's spelled out. The GIS analyst relies on the eyeball test, right? You make a heat map saying like, it looks like there's more things happening in this area. That's kind of an opinion and it's a little bit subjective. The spatial analyst relies on statistics, right? Even if you're creating a 0 to 1 index score, that is just a step above that. And you're running like a hotspot analysis, you're calculating a p-value, you're telling people there's statistically significant clusters here, and you can tell them how confident you are in that. So the move you want to make is stop making heat maps and start running spatial statistics and telling you in a clear way. It's kind of like moving from a visual output into a statistical output. Now, if you want to make this jump, you're going to require some different tools and a portfolio that actually proves that you can do these different things. This is something we do in our Spatial Lab. That's my membership community where we have different tracks that actually help you do that. And if you're just getting started with Python and SQL, you can check out the build tier. If you're looking to do more of this in an automated way, I would check out the scale tier. But there's different project templates. We share a monthly portfolio project that you can get started with. We have different elements here to help you learn everything from Python and SQL all the way up to data engineering and all these different pieces. If you wanted to go ahead and check that out, the link is in the comments. I'd also love to know, are you using spatial statistics in your workflows, or how are you doing some of these different things? And are you in the middle of moving from a GIS analyst to a spatial analyst? Let me know how that's going in the comments. Now, here's the before. From a GIS analyst, you're probably delivering some sort of map output that could be a static or online map that has a bunch of information on it, maybe some layers that someone has to filter through. Again, you're delivering a visual output that someone has to go and interpret, right? The after for a spatial analyst, you're providing something like a simple chart or even just a recommendation, right? Here's the recommendation, here's why they're doing that. Now, here's the key. You don't always need the map. And sometimes nobody wants the map. They really want the decision. And that's really where you focus on outputs. So what is the deliverable, right? The GIS analyst gets the job done when the map is exported. You're focusing on all the different pieces there. Maybe it's the map design and the layout. Maybe it's the visualization. All those different pieces are focused on the map. But if that's not going to get the person the answer that they want at the end of the day, then you need to focus on some different outputs. The spatial analyst knows that the map is just an extra tool to really help people understand what they're doing, and they really know that the job is done when the stakeholder can make a decision. So change number 3 is that sometimes the best spatial analysis results are more of a bar chart or even just a simple recommendation rather than a map, right? If an executive is telling you which stores are underperforming, you don't need to send them a map of the stores. You just need to list the ones that are important. Solve the problem. Don't just display the geography just for the sake of showing a map. All right, so how do you do this and how do you find jobs that are not a GIS analyst, but a spatial analyst, right? And you kind of have to hack the job search, right? If you're searching for GIS or geospatial in the title, sometimes you can find that, but sometimes these are hidden like location intelligence specialist or things like that. You also want to look for words like SQL or Pythons or statistics or insight. And sometimes it might not put spatial right in the job description or even in the job title. You want to focus in on some of these outside terms and find things that might be tied into location, right? Now, when you get into the interview stage, when they ask for a portfolio, you should be showing a project where you solve that problem. It says, here's, I've found the effects of X and Y. I didn't just make a map of this output, right? The map is a great tool for understanding things, but it's not the output. You need to show outcomes and build projects that do that, right? Now, the resume piece, a quick tip here is moving things like your map design or your cartographic tools to the bottom and pushing up your SQL and analysis skills or statistical things up to the top, right? Those are the pieces you want to put in there. And specifically for things that you've done in the past, either in projects or in your current work, highlight those outcomes. That's going to be really important to get you to the top of the queue. The transition from being a GIS analyst into a spatial analyst is more about the move from being a visual producer to actually putting and applying thinking to the process, right? Now, if you're looking for concrete examples of spatial analytics projects, here's a few of the different ones that we've done in the Spatial Lab that can kind of tell you exactly what this looks like. There's also different mini courses on some of these pieces I mentioned. So if you're looking to do some of those first pieces for your portfolio project, go ahead and check that out. I'd love to know how you're making this change and some of the things that you're noticing. Go ahead and drop those in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.